Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk. As always, your host Dan DeWitt here. We're going to jump right in, obviously look back at the last two games, the Miami win on the road, the big Virginia Tech win in Chapel Hill last night as this is being recorded, and then we're going to look ahead to the next three games for the Tar Heels. So I'm glad that you're along for this ride, you're listening, watching, however, and appreciate the support you guys give me, the feedback that you guys give me. And my only ask is that you share this with any other Tar Heels that you know. Make sure they're listening as we try to unite Tar Heel Nation. But that's enough of me. Again, try to keep this a little bit shorter. Hopefully you guys like that and are able to listen to that a little bit better, easier. So we're going to jump in here. First, the Miami game. I don't know that there's a ton to say here. Kind of just a taking care of business win. We just kind of did what we needed to do. Tar Heels got the win on the road, 85-76. Again, another road win in the ACC is big for the Tar Heels, coming off of, obviously, we know the Louisville debacle. The Notre Dame game didn't look great. Didn't look spectacular in this game. Again, some struggles defensively, ball screen defense, the pick and roll. Didn't defend it great, but we kind of got going a little bit and then, shot the ball pretty well, shot 55% from the field. 60% in the second half from the field, 45% from three, 50% in the second half. And, yeah, we get out of there with the win. Five guys in double figures. We led by Cam Johnson, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds for Cam. 15 points from Kobe White, along with 5 rebounds, 8 assists to 3 turnovers. Pretty good ratio there. Obviously, Roy, doesn't like those 3 turnovers, but I believe it was the second half he had no turnovers, so good outing from Kobe. Luke May, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for him. Kenny Williams, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists to 0 turnovers, so a spectacular ratio, obviously, there from Kenny. And then off the bench, Nasir Little, 12 points. Again, a little bit, this isn't too low scoring, I guess, 85 points, but only points off of the bench were Nasir's 12, and then let's see, who was it? Playtech, actually, 2, probably late in. It wasn't really garbage minutes, but he did get. A little floater down the lane. I remember he got, and then Garrison Brooks, 4 points, 7 rebounds for him in his 28 minutes. Like I said, I don't know a ton to say here. Miami was a little depleted with their guys. They got a guy out with the NCAA investigation. They had at least one, I think, injured. So they played 7 guys, some heavy minutes from there, and kind of warmed down. They didn't shoot too bad as well. They shot 49% from the field, 43% from 3. They were 58% in the second half they shot, but only 29% from 3 in the second half. So we were tied at halftime, and then obviously we pull away and get the win. And again, just a good road win. We haven't always played well at Miami, so just good to come out of there with the victory and move on. And like we said last podcast, quick turnaround for the Tar Heels. That was a Saturday game. Turned around, played last night, Monday night, against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech as well, not a ton of guys. They played 7 as well. One guy only had 13 minutes. So, really playing, 6.5 guys there. I think Roy said they only had 8 guys in warm-up, so it wasn't even like they weren't playing, walk-ons that were available, anything like that. Plus, they had foul trouble. And that's really how this game turned. Virginia Tech came out and was they knocked down 5 of their first 6 3-pointers. They were up by, let's see if I can find their largest lead. I want to say it was maybe even 9. No, biggest lead was 9 points. I was thinking it was a little bit more than that, but 9-point lead for them at one point. And kind of the turning point was Brandon Robinson taking Justin Robinson's charge, getting his 3rd foul in the first half. He went and sat, I don't know what that was, like 12 minutes left, over at least probably 10 minutes in the first half, when he went out with his 3rd foul and sat the rest of the first half. I guess it's probably around 10. He played at 29 minutes, so he played the whole second half. Had to play at least 9 minutes the first half, so 10, 11 minutes in the first half when he went out, and that was kind of the defense is what changed this game. Getting him in foul trouble on defense, taking the charge. And really we just stepped it up, got in their faces on threes. Like I said, they should knock down 5 of their first 6 3-pointers, and they were some open looks. They were just knocking. It wasn't like we were in their face and they were knocking down tough shots. They were some open shots. And it was like, oh, here we go again. A team going off from three, us not guarding the three. Our defense not looking good, but we turned it up. And I was about, I think, 5.5 minutes left in the first half. We had 25 points, and I was about to tweet out, like, whatever happened to the Tar Heel teams that could break 100 or, score 80, 90 points every night. And, like, we were on pace for, 75 points or something like that. Gosh, even less than that, probably, 70 points or something like that. And then we go on a 20-0 run to end the half, starting at about the 3-minute mark, I think. Went on a 20-0 run. They did score a bucket late, so I guess you say we end the half 20-2. But really kind of open it up, and then we came out in the second half and just continued to pile it on. Let's see, our largest lead was 27. Ended up winning by 21, 103-82. So we did get the biscuits. Led by the freshmen. Again, part of that big run in the first half was with three. It was the three freshmen, Leaky, Kobe, and Nasir, along with Garrison, a sophomore, and then Cam Johnson, who's obviously fifth-year senior, but only been in the program for 2 years. So nobody in the program over 2 years on the court, and we go on that big run. Adam Lucas said there was a stretch there where we scored 11 straight points, and the freshmen had every rebound, every assist, every point of that. So big coming out there kind of as the freshman trio. And we were led by Kobe White, 27 point, great stat line here, 27 points, knocked down 5 3-pointers, 5 for 11, so almost 50%, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Just incredible. They have 3 turnovers, so again, you say it's a little bit too much, but not really to me. If we can limit it to 3 turnovers for him, I would be good for that. For the game. And then Nasir Little right behind him, 23 points, 6 rebounds, knocked out a couple of threes, but I think what's bigger is, again, he's getting to the lane, he's being aggressive, going to the hoop, got fouled a bunch. He was 7 for 7 from free throws in this game. I think that's a much bigger stat than going 2 for 3. And really, somebody said the last 3 games or something, I don't remember how many times he went to the free throw line. But I mean, even, again, we talked about the Notre Dame game last podcast. The first half, 0 points, 11 in the second half, 12 points against Miami. He was 6 for 8 shooting from free throws, because I got that one up. I don't know what he was in the Notre Dame game. This one's 7 for 7. So just the last 2 games, he's 13 for 15 from the free throw line. To get there that many times, and then also to be able to knock him down is huge for Nasir. And again, you see kind of, people say the light bulb going off, he's getting comfortable, whatever. I think he's finding his role, and and I think the biggest thing is his confidence. I said it on an earlier podcast, like, especially his shooting, his jump shot, his 3-pointers, it's confidence. And he built a little bit of that second half of Notre Dame game, built up a little bit more last game. And then this game, he was getting to the rim, got some points in, got to the free throw line, made those, and then he was open for the 3, and he knocked down 2 out of 3 there. So big time game from Nasir there, hopefully. And I think for this whole team, but Nasir as well, the biggest question now is being consistent. Can we carry this over? We've seen this team have some big wins. We beat Gonzaga, and then we went and lost to Texas in Las Vegas. We had a big road win against NC State, and then we just dropped that huge egg in against Louisville. What's going to happen now after this big time win against Virginia Tech? Because Virginia Tech was ranked, number 9, number 10, depending what poll you looked at. So we'll see how we follow this up now. And that's the big question, is can we be consistent? But going on from Nasir with 23 points, Luke May, 14 points, 5 rebounds. Garrison Brooks, 12 points, 5 rebounds. He was huge early because, like I said, Virginia Tech was hitting 5 out of their first 6 3-pointers. We started off like 1 for 12 or something like that from 3. We're not good, but he had 8 quick points early just to keep us, close. And I mean, 9 was their biggest lead. Like I said, I thought it was bigger than that. But Garrison was big in keeping us close there. So, really, that's the stats you'd like. Probably a couple more rebounds if he could get 12 and 7, 10 and 8 every game. Like, you'd take that from Garrison Brooks every time. And then Kenny Williams, 10 points, a couple of threes from him. And those are the double-figure guys. And Cam Johnson, only his second game. I was thinking it was maybe his first game without double figures, but somebody said he only had 5 against Michigan, which is probably right. We played pretty bad in that game. But 8 points for Cam Johnson, 4 rebounds, 3 assists from him as well. And somebody, I think it was Adam Lucas on the podcast as well, the Carolina Insert Pod. Kobe White led the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. So that's pretty crazy. Obviously, we don't want him to be our leading rebounder. We'd like Luke, Garrison, Nasir, even Cam to kind of be leading us there. But obviously, we expected a little bit more in assists and steals and points. Okay, but a little bit of a drop off for Seventh Woods. Only played 7 minutes, 2 points, assist, 3 turnovers, and then he's got to be more consistent. We need more out of him as the backup from Kobe. Kobe played 30 minutes. We, especially going through the ACC here now as a freshman, first time doing it, it'd be nice to keep his minutes 28, 29, or sorry, from 25 to 28 minutes. And then if we get a big game or he's really feeling it and stuff, we'd be able to push those up to 30, 32 instead of consistently playing 30 to 32 minutes. Brandon Robinson got the minutes, 12 points. Didn't give us the stats. Obviously, he knocked down 3 threes last game. He was 0 for 1 from 3 and 0 for 3 from the field, but did give us 2 assists. And like I said, the defense, he drew that big third foul on Justin Robinson. Leaky Black, 7 minutes, so not a ton there, but he gave us 3 points, couple assists. And like I said, that stretch there where the freshman really showed out, he was a big part of that. So still like what we see from Leaky there. Shot 54% from the field, 61% in the second half. We shot 47% from 3, and this was, I think, what they say, the tie for the most threes made at home or something. I don't know if that's ever at North Carolina or under Roy Williams, but we one off of the all-time record for made threes plus attempts. We were 16 for 34 from 3. Probably don't always want to shoot that many. Like Kobe shot 11 himself, but he did knock down 5. You take that for sure, but you don't want to consistently depend on that or we're going to get in trouble. But we were 69% in the second half, 9 for 13. I think I heard there was a stretch we went 1 for 12, and then we knocked down 14 of the next 17 threes that we took. But again, it all started on the defensive end. The defense really got us going here, and big time win, 103-82 over Virginia Tech. And again, a good Virginia Tech team. I know it was at home. But again, there was a lot of people doubting, and I say people like fans. If you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you do at @AllTarHeelDan, and every game day, kind of tweet out, what's your score prediction, and then whoever is the closest gets a shout out after the game. But a lot of the score predictions were starting to be lower, which I would have too, and gave us, I think we were favored by 4.5 points. It was. A lot of people had us in that 4, 6, maybe up to 9-point win is what they were predicting. So nobody was close to a 21-point win. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Again, a good, tough-nosed Buzz Williams coached Virginia Tech team, ranked better than us, but we really put it to them. And like I said, now the question is, moving forward, can we be consistent? What does it take for the Tar Heels to be consistent? And Roy said, they've had a couple of good practices coming up. They said they had some bad practices going into Louisville game. So I think that's what the guys need to focus on. We got 8 days now until we play the next game. Our next game is next Tuesday, I believe, a week from today. If you're listening to this today, I record it. We played at Georgia Tech. Now, we've seen some good teams go in and lose to some bad teams at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. So we'll see what happens. That's next Tuesday. TV, it says RSN, so it's going to have to be something local or ESPN3, something like that. But it's a 7 p.m. Eastern tip next Tuesday in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. And like I said, we've tripped up there before. Let's see what this Tar Heel can do. And again, 8 days off. Do we get lazy? We look at how well we played against Virginia Tech and say, oh, it's just Georgia Tech, or can we build on it? That's kind of the question going in. And the way we've seen this team play, losing by 20 to Louisville and then beating Virginia Tech by 20, it all comes down to how we play defense, but what Tar Heel team comes to play there. And then we follow that up. We play that Tuesday. And then the next Saturday, February 2nd, is at Louisville. So we get some revenge there, hopefully. It says ESPN or ESPN2. It's a 2 p.m. Eastern tip there at Louisville. And I'll actually miss that game. I know I missed the Louisville game where we got killed. If you listen to the last podcast, you can know that story. But I'll miss this one, me and my wife, next Wednesday. So I'll catch the Georgia Tech game. Actually, it's Thursday we leave. But we are going to Jamaica. So going to be, I don't know what the possibility of watching that in the middle of the day being in Jamaica is. Obviously, I'll DVR it to hopefully watch when I get back, as long as it's not a debacle like the last one where I just deleted off the DVR. But yeah, chance for revenge there. But 2 road games coming up for the Tar Heels. And then the following Tuesday, so a week from Georgia Tech, we play North Carolina State at home. TV says Raycom, so again, I don't know what that means as far as local or streaming it online. That's an 8 p.m. Eastern tip against State on that February 5th. And that's the day we get back. On that Tuesday, I think we land at 6, so it'll be tough to make it by tip, but I should be able to catch most of that game live, hopefully. If not, maybe watch it on the phone. Well, again, yeah, we'll see what happens as far as streaming it goes, but watch it in the car as we're driving home from the airport. But those are the next 3 games there. Obviously winnable. Going back to, really non-conference. After the Kentucky game, there was a streak. I think we could have rolled off 9 in a row. Obviously, we dropped Louisville. So all 3 of these winnable games. Georgia Tech, obviously, we know it can happen against Louisville. So obviously, it could against Georgia Tech as well. But I would say we're a better team than Georgia Tech. We're a better team than Louisville if we come out and play, especially like we just did. We've beaten State, so now we got them at home. Obviously, they're going to want revenge. Technically a rivalry game, I guess. All that stuff. We know that Roy will get the guys up for that game, but it can be a trap game. And Georgia Tech as well, definitely a trap game in there coming off of this big win. Somewhat of a big week here, or a bye week here until the Georgia Tech game, can be a trap game. And then State, so again, we should be able to roll off some wins here. And then we got Miami after that, which again should be, if we come out and play, a win. But we can't say that with the Tar Heel game. Like I said, it comes down to consistency. Can we be consistent? So that's what we're going to find out over the next week, while rest of the ACC really is if we can be consistent, and how good can we be? What can we expect going into ACC tournament, NCAA tournament, of course. So big time games coming up, even if they don't look like it. We got to be following and cheering on our Tar Heels, which we have been in the Dean Dome. It's been some good crowds, and definitely looking forward to next month when I'm going to be there for the Florida State game. So if you're going to be at the Florida State game too, let me know. I'd like to know who else is going to be there. But it's really all we got here. As we wrap up the show here, as I always do, some comments and questions off of YouTube where I'm streaming this live as I record it. We got Terrence Murray, who says, now that was a glimpse of what we can be. It's just a matter of being consistent. Yeah, we've talked about that here. Playing defense, definitely. Limiting turnovers. Yeah, I didn't really mention that, but that is definitely something we need to keep an eye on as well. Lights come on for Nas. I think that baseline dunk woke him up. Hopefully, I don't even know if it was one play. It's just consistently going to the rim, getting that confidence. But yeah, turnovers is a good thing. You pop up. Miami, we had 15 turnovers. Still probably a little bit too much. They only had 11. And then in Virginia Tech, we had 16 turnovers. They're 13. Not that we have to have less turnovers than our opponent. Obviously, that'd be nice. But 15, 16 is a little bit high. I think we could live with 12 to 13, but we want to keep that down a little bit lower than what we did in these past 2 games. And then Andrew Braun says, when Kobe and Little play this well, we're going to be very hard to beat. Nas has flew under the radar a bit here in the beginning of the year, considering he is so hyped. I love his progression. Yeah. And again, it's been said, people have said it, but his attitude has been the biggest thing. We knew the talent was there. We saw the hype that the Duke freshmen were getting. For him not to get all into that stuff and just kind of lose his mind and all that stuff shows the maturity and the smarts that this kid has. And so, yeah, it's fun. And again, him being consistent now is the question. Can we keep it rolling? Grant Bowden says, anybody have any news on Sterling Manley's knee? I don't think Roy was even asked after this game. It's really day-to-day. All they've said is he's got soreness in his knee, and they're waiting for it to feel better. So I don't know. Hopefully that's soon. It doesn't sound like anything major has happened, but we'll see here. And then Carl says, this team has so much potential. but I would much rather see Little start over Brooks. We seem to close out many games with that lineup. Kobe's finally playing at an elite level, which I love. Yeah, Kobe's been there. As far as Little starting, again, to me, I've said, in past years, past seasons, I don't really care who starts. It's who's finishing the game. So as long as Little is being consistent enough, he's going to be in there at the end of the games, finishing stuff off. And that's more what I'm worried about. Who knows how it hurts Brooks' confidence if he gets pulled from the starting lineup. Who knows how Kobe reacts, or I mean, not Kobe, but Nasir acts if Little is starting. I mean, obviously it could help. You don't know, but if it hurts, I don't know what the risk reward there is. Like, what do we gain from him starting? It might be good as a boost off the bench, especially scoring wise. If Cam and Kobe and Luke are getting the looks early, and then Little comes in fresh legs and adds that much more. What would Brooks add offensively coming off the bench with fresh legs? I don't think there'd be much there. So I don't know what the risk reward there is as far as taking him off the bench and starting Nas. But one other thing to mention is just how excited Kobe got when Brooks had an and one there, and really when Nasir had some dunks and stuff. Kobe White is just genuinely happy for his teammates to do well, and that's so good to see in a young person like that, I'd say kid because I'm older than that, but a young man. And then one that's really good. It's not like he's on the end of the bench and he's just happy to be in a North Carolina jersey. Like, he's starting and he's, a star. He's arrived. But he's just so happy when his teammates make a big play. And that's a lot of fun to see and a lot of fun to watch. But that's really all I got here. Like I said, I'll be out of the country for a little bit here in the next week. Try to keep up on Twitter and all that stuff, especially with the predictions on Twitter. It's been fun to get your guys' predictions and then give somebody a shout out for getting the closest prediction after the game and stuff. So I want to continue that. I'll try my hardest to do that. Maybe get somebody to help me out here through my Twitter account or something. I don't know. We'll see. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. If you're someone that I am acquainted with and feel like I can trust with my Twitter account, maybe you can take that over for a game or two there to help me out. But that's all I got for you guys this week. I will still see you. Let's see. When am I next going to podcast here? I think I planned on probably not the day after because I just get back on that 5th of February. But that week still I'll get a podcast. So it's not next week. I will have a week off of there from podcasting because we don't play until next Tuesday. And then I leave. I'm not going to have time there after the Georgia Tech game before we leave. Plus, it's only the Georgia Tech game. Hopefully that doesn't warrant a podcast. But then that following week, the first week of February, we'll be back to podcasting and try to get in, weekly podcasts again until the middle of March. I take another trip. So that's really all I got for you guys. Again, appreciate you guys listening, especially if you're still listening at this point in the podcast. Share it with one of your Tar Heel friends, family. Let them know about the podcast. Let's unite Tar Heel Nation and continue on with this fun season. And hopefully we see some more consistent play from the Tar Heels. But I will see you guys again next week. Until then, go Heels.